afternoon, YouTube. It's Mellow George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, today is Sunday. It's the first week of the first day of the week. I know last week was a big holiday weekend. Depending on how you're feeling, it was 4th of July, and now it's already another week. So, I hope you all enjoyed your 4th of July weekend, and I appreciate your time and your and just your company. So, anyway, folks, as a content maker, I always like to stretch out the people who's in the sport. Who are people who interest me, and they're interested in sport themselves. I mean, I follow this lady by, KettleBell, I was on social media because I follow certain ladies, and I pop and say, wow, she's a pro, and she competes in figure, but also she's a lady who's a coach and trainer herself, and she's also known by the name of the KettleBell BombShell. That's an interesting name. I found out about this. We have here, we have the lovely Miss Lisa Balash, if I got your name wrong, so we appreciate it. So, ma'am, we'd like to know what got you in the sport of, as we call it, muscle and masculinity. Please share with us.
Okay, well, thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here on your show. And, well, I started training back in 2000, probably before that, 1994, 95 is when I first walked in the weight room at Gold's Gym here in Las Vegas, working out with a friend that I worked with, and he showed me how to lift weights. And I remember I said, I want to work on my butt and my legs, and he said, today we're doing shoulders. I was like, who does shoulders? What does that mean? So that's when I started lifting weights. So I learned a lot from him and a great friend of mine. And then from there, I started getting into, I hired a personal trainer. So I hired Jeannie Paparone. She was my first trainer. And she told me one day, you should compete. And I said, compete in what? And so back then it was only fitness and bodybuilding, and figure started in 2001. So I did the very first ever figure show in Las Vegas, Nevada. In 2001, it was called the Steve Carr, it was actually called the Las Vegas Classic, which is now the Steve Carr Classic. So I started competing in figure, and I got 7th place my first show, but I fell in love with being on stage, and I wanted to look like the girls on Oxygen magazine, right? I was buying Oxygen magazine, constantly reading about Monica Brandt and Amy Fodley and what's that other girl's name? Trish Stratus, who became a WWE girl. So I was fascinated I thought they had the most amazing bodies, and I really just wanted to look like them. And I started training to achieve that type of a look, and then that's where I started competing in the sport, 2001. Did that for about, and I went till the USA's 2007. I did place higher than I ever had at the Nationals, but I didn't ever turn pro. So then I retired when I got into kettlebells, and I started competing in kettlebell sport. And then I was really lean. I went to the Olympia, and I saw Jay Cutler, and he's like, man, look at you. You're so lean. What are you doing? Are you going to compete? And I thought, I should just compete. So that's how I came back. In 2018, I came back.
Oh, so you took that time off, and started your business, and you were competing. And then you run to one of the top legends in the sport. That's Mr. Jay Cutler, who's been a multiple-time Olympia competitor. One of the I think 2-3 time Mr. Olympia, I believe.
4.
And 4. Okay, yeah, okay.
4.
I know I remember with recent time. So I don't follow the guys as much, but I do know some of them. And I know a story about Jay that someone told me a long time ago. But it's a crazy story. But I'll probably share with you off camera later. I know people already heard it, but yeah. And
Jay's great though. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, and you met Jeannie Paparone that time because I know Jimmy's from around Vegas. And big fan of Jeannie Paparone. I used to follow on my OIG and try to get her. I tried to get coming here a few times to interviews, but I know she's a private lady. She got a life and like that. But I remember her from back in the day being one of the ladies in the years doing bodybuilding. And I did remember because I grew up watching following about this since I was a kid. When I'm right here, my brother used to play football here in our hometown, and he used to get the muscle max. And I followed the guys like Arnold and Lee Haney, and then when I got older, and get to my pubescent years, the women, something about y'all women just kind of, kind of just turned my interest in mind. Something about women with muscles.
Because it's not normal. It's not normal to see women so fit. It's normal to see a guy in great shape and look up to him like all the male bodybuilders. But when you see the women, it's just so different because it's very unusual, So a lot of times too, when you go out and you look like this, and even though I'm not as big or as ripped all the time, people will still say to me oh my gosh, how many times a day do you work out, and what are you doing for this and that? and they assume that you're living in the gym and that's all you're about. It's like this one way thing, and then they always say you look like you could beat me up, and things like this, and you're just like, I just go to the gym, man, because I like having muscles and I love how it looks. So I think you're probably drawn to the fact that it's not a normal everyday thing that you see.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because I'm from the South, and all women a little bit more fuller, thicker. You
Voluptuous.
know, yeah, voluptuous. You can say yeah that too, and seeing women like you, like when I got to first, my was a while back. A guy I met, he had his own magazine called Fitness Magazine, Amazon Fitness Magazine, and he had a little get together. And I get to meet some women that a couple of ladies I interviewed, some ladies I follow on social media, and it was just something for me to excite me to meet women like this and to conversate with them and realize that people realize that y'all ladies are women. You are in a sport where you compete, you train, you work out. You're athletes, but the aspects of it, I
Hmm.
think, like I said again, people are not comfortable with the idea of them with
Yeah.
muscle. You know,
Yeah, true, true, very true. I think whenever you're different, that always, I mean, even when you were a child in school, the different kids got picked on because people are not, like you said, they're not comfortable with anything that goes against the grain, anything goes against the norms of society. So if you're over here looking like, what women will, a lot of people out there will generalize as masculine. Like, oh, you look like a guy because you have like a little bit of muscle. You look like a guy, and it's just like, no, I don't. I look like a woman who obviously works out. Like, there's a big difference between how a man looks and how a woman looks, even as fit as women can get. So when people say that, it's just such a general blanket statement that, like you're saying, it's so different. And it's not, people are not comfortable accepting things that are different. They like everything to be the same and everybody to fit in the little box. And the I think it's better to stand out in the crowd anyways. I've always done that even when I was younger. I always did weird things and I was a weirdo growing up because I like to be different. And the second somebody was doing a trend, I would go the other way. And even like, because I actually have a clothing line too that I started designing and I make things that are completely different. So, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it because I've always had my own sense of style and my own way of doing things. And I thought, I want to make something that I want to wear. Because I used to be an ambassador for Reebok. And I loved getting my free Reebok clothes and shoes. I still wear the shoes all the time. And I loved a lot of the clothes. But some of the clothes just were not my style. But I wore them anyways because, they had us wear them as part of the job. But the ones I didn't like, I would think in my head, I would have made this so much cuter if it would have looked like this or that. And then when that ambassadorship stopped, I decided I was like, well, what am I going to wear now? And then I don't know how it all came together, like almost just like so effortlessly that I made my own designs and I started selling them. And now I have customers all over the world and it's really cool. Yeah, and I sell men's stuff as well. So the men's line right now is actually more popular than the women's. So that's kind of funny too.
well, man, you know what? We just worry about anything. Unless you're like some young guys like to be clothes horse, but generally most guys we wear like the same two or three pair of shirts, and you have like two or three pair of shoes. But generally with women, the fashion industry is more catered to y'all because the fact is that there's always something, a new design, new dress. Every time you watch like any award shows, you always see what celebrities wearing this
What
or
they're
what celebrity
wearing.
wearing that. People pay attention to more of that. A guy just wears a
The
tuxedo
suit.
or a nice suit.
Yeah.
That's about it. And you
Yeah,
wear
right.
that's what Reebok. I know Reebok back in the day, they had a contract with the UFC. I remember
Yeah.
that because and I remember there's a story where I do content on MMA. Mostly I do focus a little bit more on the women than I do on the men. But I remember there was this guy. He was doing an interview, and he was wearing I think Nikes, and the men take it off to his interview because he was contracted to Reebok. I mean that's crazy. I mean I don't say he's not wearing your shoes, but don't come on.
I know he should have at least thought that to himself. I don't like Nike shoes for me because they don't fit me right. My feet are not that narrow because Nike makes a very narrow shoe. And so I don't know how the whole population fits into Nike because it seems like that's the most popular brand. But for me, I love the Reebok ones just because they were wider in the toe box, which is healthier for your feet anyway. So for me, those just seem to fit me better. And when they came out, they used to do CrossFit and then they had that blow up with CrossFit. So now they just do cross trainers and they're
Mhm.
not the same. But the CrossFit shoes they had, oh, I loved them. And so I have like 5 or 6 pairs of them, all different colors. So I still wear them, but they're they're gonna wear out soon, so I'll have to find a new shoe to wear.
Well, I used to wear Nikes, but I started wearing Skechers. I like that. They're a little bit. I got
You
white,
like
but
Skechers? Well, maybe
I
I'll
like.
have to try them. I'll try them next. Like,
Well, folks, if you want to follow Lisa, her information description, she's on YouTube also. She has a YouTube channel, which is called the KettleBell BombShell. That's her. And also,
yeah,
she's
I
on.
mostly do kettlebell work on there. So if you follow my personal IG, because I have a business account for Kettlebell Bombshell because of the clothing and all that stuff. But if you want to follow me as far as like weight training, I would just follow Delisa Balash IFBB Pro on Instagram. I post all my workouts on there, and like right now, I'm trying a new workout routine. I just came from a 2 week layoff. And today was my first day training with the Mike Menser high intensity training method. Oh my gosh. I will just tell you, it was a very exciting experience because the workout took me, I think, 10 minutes. You do one set to failure, so you have to start heavy. So the whole, I think I'm still sweating too. This was like an hour ago. You actually you make one set only of certain exercises. He tells you how to do them, and you go to failure. So failure will be, he'll tell you 6 to 10 reps, 1 to 3 reps, 5 to 8 reps, whatever the exercise that he tells you to do. So today I trained my first day doing this, so I had to guess. I did pretty good at guessing. I had to do dumbbell flies because I don't have a. He says the pec deck machine, but I don't have a pec deck, so I did dumbbell flies on the flat bench. You're not supposed to do any more than 10, but I got to 15 because I was like a little scared, so I thought I don't know if this is going to be right. So he said if that happens, now for next week you go up, and it's not so bad that you did your first set. It wasn't to failure, but now for next time, because it is a bit of a learning curve when you're not used to going to failure on one set. So then you superset that with incline Smith machine. He specifically says the Smith machine, incline bench press with a narrow grip and the elbows wide because that really isolates the chest. So I 1 to 3 reps on that, and I got to 2. So I go, okay, I picked that weight was right, and it was hard. I was getting to 2. I was like, and then you rest, and then you go into reverse grip lat pull downs. 6 to 10. I got 10 exactly, and that felt like failure. I did about 140 pounds, I think, on that. And then you rest like just a little bit, then you do deadlifts. And I did 225 on the deadlifts for 10 reps. And then that was the workout. So those are crazy hard exercises, obviously, and then you're hitting all of these, all the bigger muscle groups. Then you take 2 days off. Then I'll do legs the next time, and the legs are going to consist of leg extensions, and then you're supposed to superset that with leg press, and then you do standing calf raises after a short rest. And then the third day is shoulders and arms, and then you take 2 days off in between, and then after the 2 days off in between, you go ahead and you take another workout day, and then you rest 2 more days. So you're only going to train each body part like once every 10 days, maybe 7 to 10 days. And then he says each week you're going to go up in strength and you're going to go up in weight by 10 to 20%. And he says if you weren't able to gauge the weights properly, like say I could only do 6, or say I could only do 4 and I was supposed to do 6, he says the next week you'll be able to do 6 with that weight. So he says this is the fastest way to grow. It's called, his book was called Heavy Duty. So I'm doing the heavy duty, man. And it was crazy. I came home like 10 minutes later. I was like, oh, there's my workout. I've done it in 10 minutes. But the process takes place because I went to failure, right? So I really taxed the muscles. Now the body is healing and repairing. So 2 days off, just going to stay on my diet. I have my calories written down. So I took measurements of all my body parts, my weight, and I'm writing everything down, how much food I'm eating, how much weight how much weight I'm using, and how many reps I'm doing. So now when I go week to week, I'll be able to gauge it a lot better. But yeah, I'm really excited. It was fun. It was fun because it was so fast, and I kind of got like this buzzy, like adrenaline feeling, because it was like you're doing heavy, you're just like, so it's like every set's a PR kind of. It was kind of cool. So I like it. So I'm going to do it for a little while. I'm going to see how I feel. I'm going to stick with this for like a month or two. And I think I'm going to break through any plateaus because I was starting to feel like just training the regular bodybuilding style where I would do, chest today, back, another day, then legs and this. And I think that's a great way to work out. Obviously it works, but I feel like for me, I felt like I was stagnating. So I needed to break through like whatever this plateau is. So 2 weeks off, I didn't even train. And then I come back just to hit it really hard. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with that. So if you follow my Instagram, I'm going to be updating and posting video and stuff of the workouts. I tried to video today, but I forgot because you're only doing one set and you're going from thing to thing. And there was another guy in the gym, and I didn't want to be like a jerk and say, hey, don't go over there. I'm using that. I mean, he's a friend of mine because I work out where I live. I don't go to like a gym. We have a really nice gym where I live. So I work out in there, and I try to go at a time when there's no one else in there so I can take up the whole place. But it only took me like literally, he's probably thinking, what is this lady doing? Like, you worked out for 5 minutes. It was probably 10. Like legit, it was probably 10 minutes, like with the rest. But yeah, it was fun. So it's kind of exciting to do something new. I get like a new stoke, like, okay, now I'm stoked. I'm gonna put on some more muscle so next year I can compete. So it's kind of like I needed that too. I needed something to get me excited. Because if your mouth's not watering when you think of something, then it's not good. It has to make your mouth water. It has to make your mouth water when you think about it. Like, you know what I mean? It does. It makes your mouth water.
Me, I think a nice piece of chicken. I make my mouth water more.
Yeah.
I don't.
Hey.
I try.
Yeah, but you don't realize it. You don't realize it, but it does happen. You're probably having it happen when you interview people for your podcast. You're like, yeah, because it's exciting doing something that you love and something new, and
Yeah, I just met a few times where there's some women that I have interviewed that I kind of would fanboyish. I go, like one lady I got to interview, and I know Nancy knows her. I mean, Janine knows her. That's Nancy Lewis. I interviewed her, and I was a big fan of hers from back in the day. We still keep in contact every now and then. Great lady, amazing person. Sue Price is someone who I used to follow back in the day. Amazing lady. I still keep in contact with her. And just getting friendship with these women over my period of time doing this, it's great. I mean, it's just, and then just, they teach me stuff and tell me things that most people don't know, like stuff that as a person from the outside looking in, we never get to know. Folks, I'm going to jump over into Lisa's social media. If you want to follow her, like I said, her stuff in the description, let's jump on her IG real quick and look at some pictures and stuff. And also got her here, as you know, she says she has her own line of clothing. And this is like this is nice here. The black and orange suit, half camo.
That's actually
shorts.
Red. Yeah, it's red. Does it look orange? It's red. Yeah, maybe it's the lighting in the.
Yeah, it's the lighting. It could be kind of. It says kind of reddish looking, and also this is one of your workouts here. It's not kettlebells, but
yeah. My weights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that my ACDC shirt? You gotta have an ACDC shirt.
What you like to play? You play Back in Black, or you like to play Dirt Treat?
I like it all. I love ACDC. I actually have a good ACDC mix with Biggie. What's that? What's Back in Black, and what's the song by Biggie? Juicy. Have you ever heard that? My friend,
Juicy. Juicy.
Well, my friend Kelly Lynn Nyoka, she's an IFBB pro in women's bodybuilding and physique. She's a DJ too, and she made a really cool mix for me where she put Back in Black with that song Juicy, and it sounds really good.
Hey, if you got a copy that I would like to know, I listen to it. I might post it on my IG. This is also cool. This is one of her. This is a KettleBell, trunks, and she got them on sale if you're interested, folks, especially you ladies out there who always try to find.
Well, I give everybody a discount code. It's in my it's in the bio of my. It should be in the bio. If it's not, I give everybody a discount code for 10% off. KB10 at checkout usually, and then you just put that code in, and it'll give you 10% off. Yeah. So I like to try to hook up the people.
That's good. I like this little video right here was posted. Okay.
Those must be comfortable shoes.
That made me laugh so hard.
I bet you could walk all day in shoes like that and not feel a thing. Those must be comfortable shoes. I bet you could walk all day in shoes like that and not.
That's a
That was
Forrest
so
Gump.
funny to me when I heard
Yeah,
that.
because I like Forrest Gump. We're like life is like a box of chocolates. You never
I
know
know, right?
what you're gonna
You're gonna
get. I
get,
mean,
and that's
that's a
true.
great movie.
He was so,
And
but that was so funny because when he's like, those look like comfortable shoes.
like you said, like Jenny, Jenny, I messed up your roommate's robe, Jenny. That's just he's just stupid, And but folks, if you want
It
to
was
follow her again, her social
cute.
media stuff in the description. But guys out there, I know she's attractive lady. I know
Oh,
you get
thank you.
excited. You see these ladies in the, she's wearing high heels. She got a little puppy with her. But guys,
Ah, Lola's
there,
dropping
yeah,
my stuff. Sorry.
guys, you might want to fix it up a little bit because you're still out of camera. Guys, here's my rule, and this is a rule I tell you out there, all you guys out there: no D pics.
Oh yeah, please.
Stop
I
it.
won't even open that. I won't even open that. I
I
get,
mean,
I get stuff all the time from like people in the hidden messages or private messages, and it'll be blurred. So I won't ever open that stuff. So
yeah,
if they
because
do that, it's I don't
yeah,
open it.
because it happens a lot. Because like I said, one thing is this is why I talk about this. Like, there's a lot of people who have a prejudice against women with muscle. They don't like I said, we talk about they don't like these, like you see how you say like, oh, you're trying to be a man, but you're not trying to be a man. You're a
No.
woman in a sport where which you have to develop and grow your body. There's I
Yeah.
know some women, if you take certain things, you do get some aspects of a bit of
Sure. Sure.
male traits, but not to the level where you're still not a female. And that's the thing, people got to
Yeah.
recognize that. But you have those guys who are out there who are
Yes,
fans
for
ladies,
sure.
who get excited. That this is something I heard a long time ago. I remember when I started to go on when I first got my first computer, and I used to go onto these back in the day. We used to have to do you had to do not we had the dial up. We had to, so I had to wait till like everybody's asleep so I can get on. I used to go on these message boards. And it was cool. Guys talking about female bodybuilders. There's one guy, he used to be on there. He said, "Hey, guy, so like this is saying, if you ladies rock hard, we'll rock hard." And I said, "Okay, that's cool." But we have to understand that you have to be respectful because even regular women don't like that. And and women who don't compete, it's just some men just need to be more, more polite when you see
Yes.
someone like that. No one
Well,
wants to
even
see it.
if they're not, like I said, I just ignore it. I don't even open their messages. And if they start acting up or they say something inappropriate, I just block them and then I go on with my day. So if they're going to do any of that anyways, it will be stopped. But thank you for saying that because we appreciate that.
Well,
Us girls appreciate that.
Well, I have a few ladies that I conflated with. They sent me some things. Say, George, this guy's doing his finger sense to somebody just in case he messes around. I say, okay, I don't mind. Just give him a heads up because those guys out there. But I know, ladies, most women, like I said, don't want to see that. Men in their hands, we don't want to see that either. I don't know. Yeah, remember,
Yeah, exactly.
this is a true story happened to me, and this is lady I've become friends with. I met her a while back. Her name is Marianne Wachowski. She's a physique pro. We met a while back. We did a couple of interviews. We met a while back. Still cool with Marianne. And I think one morning, I just popped on. She was on IG. I popped in. She brought me, and we were talking, on IG Live. In the middle of it, somebody else comes in. And so I think probably it's a friend of hers. They want to have a little conversation. So while we're talking, guy pops in. He walks, and right there, right in the IG Live.
No way.
Yes, right. I play football. And that's the I used to see guys naked, but that's the one to see that shit right there while I'm on IG
Yeah,
or a friend of mine. It's
exactly.
just, I don't want to see that. So, folks, we were talking earlier, me and her were talking about how the sport is starting to change a bit. There's a lot of debates. As we had discussion about this, how the lines between the divisions are starting to get a little bit thin, where you can't tell the difference between, sometimes even those, for the naked eye, for us people who are on the outside, we can't tell the difference between the women who are in this division or another. Like you look at girls in the Z, like your division.
Starting to blurred lines.
Yeah, and then you look in physique, you look in bodybuilding. Sometimes
Yeah.
you can't tell the difference. Like we're talking about how.
Well, I'll tell you what I was told at the show. This is what we were told at the show, at the nationals. They said, "Well, you're saying you don't want this or that, but then you pick this person." And this is what Sandy said. She said, "We have to judge who shows up." Okay? So say the one girl looks like really hard and really striated and really big, and the next person looks like softer, and there's not like really a medium. Well, they have to pick the one that represents most what the pro level would stand for, right? So the girl that's like soft and unconditioned should not win, but the other girl is bigger and overly muscular, but she's the looks the most appropriate for the look that they want. They have to pick that one. So then people say, oh, well, you picked this one and she was bigger. Well, it was either her or these other, ones who didn't have hardly any conditioning, or one didn't have size. So you can't have a bunch of people who don't have anything beat somebody who has too much, I guess. Would that be a way to say it?
Mm-hmm.
So, or the other people don't have enough muscle or have enough leanness, enough conditioning. Because there's like a thin line between that too. You don't want to be overly conditioned and then, and you don't want to be overly big to be in figure, because in figure, if you put on too much muscle everywhere, you're going to look more like physique, and they're going to tell you you would be better off in physique because of the size you are. So I think, like Sandy said, we have to judge who shows up. So sometimes that's kind of, I think, what ends up happening at the amateur level and the national level. Now the pro level, they pretty much all look the same. So I'm not sure how it works with that, because all of those girls look amazing on stage. Even the ones who come in 15th and below, they look incredible. So how do you even judge that? That would be so hard.
Yeah, I think that is that, because there's always that debate where in which, you do a show and you come in, okay, I'm in the best condition. I look pretty good. Then you have another person, another lady, another woman whose condition might be a little off.
Yeah.
And then you thinking, okay, I'm going to beat her. But then they get the award that spot to that woman instead of to you. You feel like, wait a minute, I come in a better condition. I got everything set. What's missing? What did I didn't do to get me to win the show? And I know I see some ladies that maybe just me for a fan point. I see some ladies who look amazing, but then
Hmm.
turn around and lose to somebody who didn't look as good. And there's always a
Yeah,
debate
that I
about.
never understand.
Mhm. Just
Yeah,
it's just
that
always go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that part I never understand, because I've been that person before. Because for me, my conditioning is usually pretty good because I get lean really fast. So that's not my main issue. My main issue is holding size. So for me, it's like I don't have to cut my carbs. Like even when I got my pro card, it was the most conditioned I'd ever been in my life. And I had to do a show 2 weeks prior to that show because I was doing the Patriots Challenge just to qualify for the Pittsburgh Nationals. So I did not look as good at that show. And I knew it. I knew it. I was like, something's off. Like you were just saying, something's off. Like I couldn't pinpoint it. I didn't know what it was. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm throwing this cardio out the window because it's not helping. I think it's making me worse. I was doing too much cardio and I was eating too many fats, which I don't normally do. Carbs are usually really, really good for me. So I usually up the carbs and lower the fat, and I was doing the opposite. And it didn't hit. And then I switched all that and I stopped doing cardio and I went and had like 3 cheat meals. And then I ate just, 3 different times. I had a cheat meal in like 2 days. And then I thought, okay. And I had a friend looking at me and he was like, you could still put on a little bit more. He's like, you need to eat still. And then I just was eating and eating, and he actually suggested, don't do cardio. And I was like, okay, I won't. I just was like, I don't care. I don't want to do it. But then I came in like super dry and super ripped because my muscles all filled out with the glycogen, and it pulled the water that was like on top of the muscle under the skin, put it back in the muscle instead of smoothing me out. Does that make sense?
Well, still I'm a little bit, but I'm getting your point to it because I'm still learning a lot of the
Oh, okay.
terminology
So
regarding
what
stuff.
happens is when you spill over, kind of like with carbs, your muscles, the water because your muscles are 72% water. So the water inside the muscle will come out and it'll be underneath the skin, and you'll be flat, and then this will look smooth. And so when he had me go out and cheat with my food, I added salt, which I wasn't using, and then it took all that water and it put it back inside. And so like within an hour of me eating like that, I could see a change, a small change, but in an hour, I was like, I looked more narrow. Like I looked wider before because the water. So when the water was going back inside the muscles, it just was tightening my muscles to the skin. And so, like a few days of doing that, my muscles got really round and really hard, and then it was like rice paper on top of them because
Mhm.
all the water was in the muscle where it's supposed to be instead of underneath
In the
the skin.
skin.
So that's
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a big problem for a lot of people, and they don't realize it because then they think they got to cut the carbs more, and actually that's the recipe for disaster at that point because that's when you need to put them back in. And my body is super sensitive with carbohydrates, which is like a rare thing because for years I would listen to other people say, well, you can't eat that many carbs when you're dieting and you have to cut out all your carbs. Well, how can that work for everyone? So I was listening to these people and I was following that like idea, that process, and it never really worked for me. And I think that's why in the early 2000s, I think that's why I didn't get my pro card. I think I could have looked because I think I had a lot more muscle than it appeared because I was not eating enough carbohydrates to put that water inside the muscle, the glycogen, so it would expand. So my muscles were always kind of like small and flatter looking. And then when you do go to add more, then by that time it was too late. I needed a lot more time. So I think that's why I ended up retiring from the sport. And like how you were saying, the lines were getting blurred. They were picking back then. Now I was big back then in the 2000s, and I'll never forget 2005. I looked incredible. Size. They started picking figure real tiny, like bikini, and we didn't have bikini then, so they started making figure girls, little itty bitty girls, and I already had too much muscle, so I would get last call out at the nationals. I got last call out, and I was really upset. And then I would do an amateur show and smoke everybody because they don't have muscle, but. It was very upsetting because to me, I thought, well, what am I supposed to do? I put on muscle because when it first started, they were picking bigger girls, and I was small, and I put years of work, and now they're going the other way. Like, and I got really mad, and I was just like, I quit. That's it. And so I'm glad I did that though, because I found something else, and then I missed it, and I gave it time off. And when I came back, I really, really loved. I didn't realize how much I missed being in bodybuilding. So when I came back, it was 2018, and I got my pro card in 2021. So that
Yeah.
was really cool. It was cool.
Congratulations. Yeah. I think that's a
Thank
good thing that
you.
because sometimes it just takes that little bit of time. I know, like I said, I know a lady we talked about
Yeah.
earlier. Her name is Melly Horton. She turned pro around, I think it was 94, 95. Competed her last bodybuilding competition before she took a step back, got married, had kids was in 99. That was the year when they had the Olympia, when they almost didn't have the Olympia, but they had the Olympia and the Women Extravaganza show that year. And I think was
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy that show? I can't remember. But yeah, to take a step back and to rejuve yourself. Maybe find something else to do. You find your thing with the kettlebells.
I did. Yeah.
This is a good friend of mine, my brother here, Combo Breaker 99. Combo Breaker. I always can't do. Shout out to the kettlebell bombshell. Combo Breaker, he does
Yeah.
content on MMA and mixed martial arts. Great guy. A big fan
Oh,
also of
cool.
bodybuilding content. So you gotta check it out.
Very cool.
Also,
Very cool.
yeah, and then and you were saying how the vision started changing because I remember I was talking with one lady. Her name is Lotta. She lives in Vegas like yourself, and she mentioned
Okay.
how when bodybuilding started out, you just had we started out we had bodybuilding. Then you had the women came along, and they were kind of like maybe like almost like figure pillars because they were in the high heels. And then the kids at the high heels. Then you had the Rick Dresch. Then you had Corey Everson. Then you had Linda Murray. You had those divisions. Then with physique came along because I remember we were talking about how when fitness started out, it was a lot of the girls in fitness didn't want to do the routines they were doing, the more um, acrobatic routines. So then
Yeah.
they spun off into figure
Figure.
because
Yeah.
it was more for the girls who say, what, because I think we started out, it was kind of like figure was kind of like almost like CrossFit fitness when we first started
Yeah.
out fitness, but then they changed the routine from instead of the test of strength stuff like that, and they just dropped to like more of the move around, jumping around, flipping stuff, more aerobatic and dance routines. And so the ladies
Yeah.
say, you know what, I can't do that. So they brought in and say, well, we're going to take the part that's with the bikini part and just, be a presentation. Because I think with your ladies, you only have the 4 mandatory poses. And, you
Like
got to wear
that.
high heels because, you know what, because you tell you how you talk about
That doesn't
bikini.
bother me.
Yeah, I know some ladies I talk to say No, man, I didn't like the high heels. I know, I never liked it because, like, I tell you, one of my, I used to have a few jobs, and one of my jobs I used to work at a strip club, and high heels. You wear those high heels. I mean, they're tough on your feet, but I think some
I
women love them, but
like
some women
them.
don't.
I like them. You know what? When you practice enough in them, I used to walk in the treadmill on mine at Gold's Gym. I used to go in the women's gym where they had two treadmills in there. It was always no one in there. And I would bring my shoes and I would walk around in my shoes. And I remember I was reading one of my Oxygen magazines, and I forget who it was that said this, but she said, approaching the show, I wear my shoes as often as I can. She says, my neighbors laugh. I even take my trash out in these shoes, and just so I can feel as comfortable in them as I do my workout shoes. And I thought, ooh, that's smart. So that's when I started taking them to the gym, and I would walk for like 10 to 15 minutes on the treadmill in my shoes. And then I would wear them around the house and walk around, because usually in the house I'm barefoot or I've got whatever I have on when I'm training people. I have on tennis shoes or whatever. So I would take them off and put those heels on and just walk. And then before you know it, they're not uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable because you don't wear them enough. So that's why they're uncomfortable. But if you practice wearing them, you're only wearing them for a few moments on stage. And backstage, you're standing around more waiting to go out there in them, so that can make your feet hurt. But that's why I would always just practice having them on. And then I've had the same style pair of shoes the whole time I competed in figure. So they're real comfortable for me. That's why when I was laughing when I saw that video, this must be comfortable shoes because they actually are. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yes, yeah,
But
like I
yeah.
say, that's the thing. Heels, are made for women, guys. Well, some guys, Prince used to wear them, but that's Prince. But I think some,
I just watched a documentary on Prince. I love Prince. Oh, he was so great.
I, I mean, he
Yes, we
was
lost a
talented.
good one there.
Yeah, because I got a friend of mine. She's a big, Michael Jackson fan. We debate that who's better,
I
Michael or
love
Prince.
him too.
But like I say,
Yeah,
I look
well, but Prince played all the instruments too. Did Michael Jackson
at.
play instruments? No.
Other than
Did he?
maybe once in a while,
No.
he might play some like
Yeah, but he didn't
Moroccan
play
or
like
something
how
like
many
that.
how many instruments does Prince play? A lot.
You know,
Like he
I think he
plays
said
more
he
than
played.
five, I
I
think.
think I think he said at least 10 because guitar,
Yeah.
keyboard. I think he said he knew how to play saxophone. I mean, because he came
Mm,
from a very talented. Because his father used to play piano and stuff. He was in a band. His mom was a singer. He's very talented. I
yeah.
mean, Prince
Yeah.
was his own
Oh, I
stuff.
didn't
Get rid
know
of
that
Prince.
his family did that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know his family
yeah,
did that.
yeah. Because Prince wrote his own stuff. By the time he was
I know.
15, he was already making songs. And he wanted
Well,
to
you want to
produce his own
laugh?
stuff.
One of my former clients, she's a nurse. She went to, wait, is it she's friends with or she worked with a girl that dated, or no, no, wait. She does date one of the original band members that Prince had when he was in high school. So he was in the like when Prince made a band, his own band when he was in high school. This guy was one of the members of the band. So she was telling me that. I go, get the hell out. She's like, yeah. She goes, he started off with him, and I don't know what happened. He ended up quitting or whatever. But I bet he's sorry he quit.
Well, like I
But I
say,
thought that was really cool.
it's about probably finding his own way because sometimes like guys usually like I remember it was some singer who was with what was that? I think who was it? Um I'm trying to remember who it was it Mary J. Blige or was it I was trying to remember that they started out with a group, but then they left that group. And I know, and then they, even though the guy who was part of the group was a big star, that person also went to a big star. It happens with a lot of these competitors.
Yeah,
A lot of these singers
yeah.
out in pairs. Who's your little buddy? What's his name?
This is Lola. I have another one. He's laying down though. He's antisocial. I have Lola is a Chihuahua Terrier mix, and she's obsessed with me, which is really cute. And then I have this other
Oh,
dog named Teddy. He's a Chihuahua mix too, and I got him just recently. We've had him. We're coming up on a year, but he was not in the best hands. He came from an animal hoarder situation, and another bad owner after that wasn't feeding him. So he's got a lot of problems. Like, he's got a little bit of mental problems too, I think, because, like, if you walk past him, he'll scream. And you didn't step on him or nothing, but I don't know, I kind of feel like he talks in a way, and he'll make these really loud sounds that sound like he's screaming, but I think he's, like, trying to tell me something, like, hey, I'm down here, don't step on me, like that kind of thing. And then if he doesn't want to do something, he'll like get really mad and start like "Wah!" like that, like he's just funny. So he's super expressive, but he's real cute too. He's a long-haired Chihuahua. He's laying down and I would pick him up. But yeah, Lola is my little sidekick. She's always with me. She's just so cute. So yes,
Uh,
she's a little. She's not a muscle dog, but
I,
she can't stand to be away from me. I'm like, oh, it's just so cute. But yeah, I've never had a dog like this. I've had many dogs in my days, since I was a kid, and I've never had a dog that's like this, just like glued to my side. So it's kind of cute. But
well,
yeah, so I just got done with my workout today, and I just ate, and it felt so good to move after like 2 weeks of not working out. So I'm excited to see if I'm going to be sore tomorrow, because so far I feel like my back from the deadlifts, because I only did the one set and I did 225 without like any warm up. I just did it, and I didn't have a belt or anything, but it was fine. But I can already tell like that area from deadlifting where you get sore. I can feel those muscles are like, eh. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow to wake up and see what's happening.
yeah,
But yeah. So I'm hoping to do a pro show in 2024. So please, if your fans and followers would like to follow me, that would be great. And you guys can watch my progress that I make, and we'll see. I don't know how long I'm going to try this style of training. He said you got to give it a few months, but I may do it as just a way to break things up, and I may get bored and want to go back to my other way. But in a way, I kind of want to see what Mike was talking about. Like, I want to see, is this really going to put more mass on me? Am I going to grow, quicker? Because that's what he said. He said you could do in months what people take years to do. So I'm excited to try it, And I'm the kind of person where I love to be a student. So I love learning new things. I never think I know everything. Like a lot of times, like, I have people that I know that have been going to the gym that don't have any results, and they wouldn't dare listen to me, because they could and they just choose not to because they want to do it their way. Well, their way doesn't work, but they're okay with that because that's their path that they want to take. And so I never try to tell people how to do anything. But some people are terrible students. Like they don't want to learn, And for me, I feel like, gosh, give me more information. Like if I could learn something new and learn about this way and say, hey, I could have been saving time all along by working out this way and building more muscle, more quality muscle, then that would be really cool. And then if I decided, well, I just like going to the gym, so I'll go back to my 3 day on, 1 day off split. So it'll just take time for me to learn the process and see how it goes.
yeah,
But
and
I'm
that's it. It was a
excited.
process. You guys said the process, and you have a trainer, a coach right now, or who are you working with?
I always kind of work with Jeannie, but I'm just training myself. I have been for the last few years. So when I get closer to the show, she usually helps me with my posing, and she'll train me. Like if I feel like, I'll have her eye look at me and tell me what I need to do. So if I need to bring up a body part or work more on something, then her and I will get together on that. But that's usually how I do it.
Yeah, and that's Jimmy Paparone right here, the legend in the sport of bodybuilding, who's been a multi-time Olympic competitor. That's one of your other buddies. I
Yeah,
think that's Dolly. I think she mentioned her, and
yeah.
Jenny.
That was her
Even like
birthday last night.
yeah, and even now I'm looking at Jenny, and she looks like she could. We were talking earlier how she looks like she could pop on a stage right now.
Step on stage, right?
I
And
mean,
her birthday's coming up too. Her birthday's on, I think it's the 19th of this month. So she's got a birthday coming. So she'll be 54, I think, or 50. I'll be 54. I think she'll be 55. Yeah. But she does not look even close to 55. Like if I
and
saw her on
also
the street,
she's a mother because she has a son, right? You have a son.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and I
He's
think what's that?
grown
What
though.
she?
He's grown.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it. You look at this woman, you wouldn't think it. Hey, you got a grown son and you're
I know,
55.
right?
You be like,
Yeah, right.
you sure?
I know,
You know.
it's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
mean, yeah,
But
yeah,
she lives and breathes the sport, and it's her life. And she loves being in the gym and she loves training people. So she's got a really, and she makes these muffins that I order all the time and I get all my clients on them. She makes these really healthy protein muffins. Well, they have protein and carbs, but no fat. So unless you add like some walnuts or something. So I always get the carrot cake ones and uh, the pumpkin spice, and I have her put raisins and walnuts in there. Oh, and then the peanut butter chocolate chip. So I usually rotate between the peanut butter chocolate chip and the pumpkin ones, but they are amazing. And she makes them all year round, and she even can ship them to people too. So if they ever want to try them, but she's really an impressive person. Like
yeah.
she is the fitness industry. chemistry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want a personal trainer, you want someone like her who embodies the whole thing. You know, she eats, sleeps, and breathes fitness. So it's very
Yeah.
cool. Here, Lola, you have to go.
Yeah, we
I'm
were
getting
talking
hot.
about, or like, was it the other day we were talking about how we know the sports is developing, changing. The big star
Yeah.
right now in your division is one Miss Sydney Gillett. And
Oh my
Sydney,
God, yeah.
she's coming up on her possibly her seventh Olympic title.
Seventh. I know.
She's just a title away to tie with Linda Murray, and she's a good way from tying, maybe surpassing um, Iris Kyle. And
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Iris
I,
got
I
10
yeah,
Olympias.
Sydney, yeah, yeah, and you got to pull this video right here. I mean, pull up a Sydney,
Yeah.
and we see a couple here. You wouldn't
And
look at
she's
this woman.
beautiful too. Sydney is, you know, she's so nice. Like when you ever talk to her, even online, she answers her comments. Like, you know, some of these people, it's like, I get it. You got a big following. You're a IFBB pro. Well, so am I. And I'll comment on their stuff and they don't even like your thing. And you look and they do it to everybody. You know, they don't even acknowledge the people. She's not like that. She'll talk to you. She'll comment back and she's so nice and she's so amazing. Like she just like yeah, she's a very cool person. She is beautiful. I think her posing is just phenomenal, and her face, like when she smiles, she just like lights up the room. You know, she's really pretty, and her body is the best. You know, she really does
Yeah,
have. I don't think anybody could beat her right now. I mean, she just looks the best. That back and shoulders and her legs. I mean, just everything. She's just, and I love. You know, who is my favorite? Who I love too is Natalia Soltero. I love her. She's from Mexico,
uh huh.
Chihuahua, I think, and she got second a few years ago. But she just won the NorCal Pro. She put on about 7 pounds of muscle, I think, and she looks incredible. But she's tiny. Like she looks. I shouldn't say tiny. She's not like Boyana's size. She's a little bit bigger. She might be 5'6" or 5'7", but she just looks her structure and everything compared to some of the girls. She looks smaller, but I mean, her body is just unbelievable. So yeah,
Yeah,
she is my favorite, and just because I love her glutes. Her glutes are like I think I kind of have a similar body to hers. It might be why I like think because maybe if I try to put on more muscle to look like her body because I feel like I relate to it more. Like she has very round, high glutes, and my glutes are like that too. So I feel like when I look at Natalia's body, I feel like yeah, I want to look like that because I kind of see me structurally is very similar to her. But
mhm,
yeah, I love her body too. And then
yeah.
Jessica Reyes Padilla, she
Mm.
looks incredible. She got second last year. Did she get second last year?
No,
I think
yeah,
she
she took
did, or
second
at the
last year.
Arnold. Yeah,
No,
she looks
no.
unbelievable. So
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of
remember,
these girls.
last year there was no figure at the Arnold.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to remember because I talk
you took
about
it
this
out.
how I
Well, they
I
want the.
the TNA divisions. Let's see what that
Mm-hmm.
is because I'm a big fan of Arnold. I grew up watching
Yeah,
the movies.
I'm
Terminator,
sure.
Schwarzenegger, and this Donald Trump. I grew up watching. Then there was content and the people who I've
Oh,
met
he was
and
amazing, no doubt.
yeah,
I just like to give him shit, like on the low, like not like I'm talking to him, but I had a client who was really good friends with him too, actually, and he was like, "Oh, you know Arnold?" I said, yeah, I know he is." I go, "Everybody does." He goes, "Yeah, because he worked with him on something else. I won't discuss it just so I don't reveal him, but he was really good friends with him." And I was like, "Oh no, I think it's cool. Like that's really awesome. He was amazing. Like obviously, if I got to meet him or get training tips from him, I'm not going to be like." You untouchable peasants! Like obviously he is the goat. I know that, but I just really like Mike Menzer. But I also liked Frank Zane, and I liked what's his name? Shoot, I can't think of it. There
Tom
was another
Plaza,
one. Tom Platz. Yes, I love
Tom
Tom
Plaza.
Platz.
Yeah, because
Yes,
I remember as a kid, I used to remember him and guys like Sergio Olivier,
Sergio. Yeah,
Franco, yeah,
Sergio.
Franco Colombo. You can't forget Lee Labrada, Lee
Mhm.
Heaney.
Well, I
You
trained with
know,
Tony Pearson for a while. You know who Tony Pearson is, right?
yeah,
I trained with
because
him for a while
I
too.
remember, Tony. He was more of a couples poser because he used to work with people
Yeah,
like
mixed
Laura
pairs. Yeah,
Val, and he did some stuff with Juliet
Carla
Bergman. But
and
yeah,
Carla
Carla
Dunlap.
Dunlap. Yeah, I mean, I think this is single stuff, but he was more of a couples bodybuilder. But he has a
Yeah.
great back. I mean, I think I
Oh
saw, of
yeah.
course, yeah. But yeah, I remember.
I trained with him in 2005, and he actually trained me for the USA's when I was too big, but I wasn't even that big. I think I weighed I probably weighed 155 maybe. And I'm 5'8". So, but they weren't picking the figure girls to be big. So either way, but he also trained me. I did the Excalibur show in December of '05, and because I had to requalify, and I got second place there. But I looked really good. The girl that got first, she was a lot bigger than me. So see, this is my point where we were talking about how I was too big at the USA's, but then at the amateur show, the girl that beat me was way bigger than me, but I was really more defined. So it was like, what are you people doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's where as a competitor it gets frustrating to be like, well, what are they going to pick this time, So, like I said, they judge who shows up, and I get it, and it goes from there, and it's still subjective. It's still going to be their opinion. So, who knows? Who knows what they're going to want? Who knows what they do at the pro level? But I want to stay in my age group because I don't want to go against people that are 40, because even a decade later, it really does change how your body looks. So, even though I stay fit all year round and lean all year round, I still want to go against people in my same age group. So I will do a master's show that has 50 and over. Hopefully next
Yeah,
year they'll have one because they're shrinking them, it seems, like how we were discussing. I said, I hope they're not just going to get rid of figure next because that would be sad.
yeah,
But
because
they
yeah, it'd
may.
be
They
like
may.
I know one lady said she wants to compete in her age group. I did an interview with a lady who's a bikini competitor. She's a doctor, and she said, I
Mm-hmm.
told her, hey, think about doing open. Open. Said, nah, I'm 50. I want to, And you look at these young competitors now. Like we were talking about, Paula Ranta, if that's her name is,
Mm-hmm.
and how some people say that she might need to switch over to. If anybody don't know who Paula Ranta is, we're gonna pull up a picture right here of her, and
She's
that's
gonna go
her.
to. I love this picture here of her, the one where she's doing, where she's the second one to the left.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that one, but the other one over too. Yeah, she looks great. She looks incredible. I think she
Yeah,
looks good size for figure. I think she looks a normal size for figure.
yeah. I think
Like
it's
that was
like
like, yeah, that picture there, her back and
mhm,
shoulders. Holy cow.
yeah.
Waist, really tiny, really small
Yeah, she's
waist.
about. I think you see. You also look at Lola Montez. She's kind of like that. She has the small legs, thick
Oh, Lola.
shoulders, very
Yeah,
shredded.
she looks sick good. Like,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. Her glutes, I
just
love it. I love just how when she walks, I just like how she looks when she walks too. She's just like badass. I love it. I
but
like when they
it's
have
all.
that their own thing.
Mhm. But it's always a debate that some of these women might need to eventually, like I think even with Paula, she's still a bit on the small side, but there's always somebody saying that, hey, you might need to consider go. But I think the thing is, it's about how you develop and grow as a competitor. Like I said, she's still young.
Yeah.
I think she's just in her early
She's
20s.
23. 23, I
23.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe another 6, 7 more years when you start really putting on the size. When you, like I said, some like
Yeah.
this thing is when you're still young, your body's still growing development. And there's one lady who I follow. Her name is
Yeah. It takes time. Yeah.
yeah, there's one lady
It
who I
takes
follow
a
named
while.
Coley Amandi. Somebody Amandi Coley. They say like, oh, she's going to bodybuilder, but no, she's just in her mid 20s. She's still young, but it's all
Well, what do you
depending
think
on.
about Shanique Grant? How she was Miss Olympia in the women's physique, and now she's doing wellness. What do you think about that? Have you seen her?
Well, yeah, I posted on my social media that she made an announcement, and I remember when she won the physique title twice,
Yeah,
and I think
twice.
when she lost, she took a step back because she wanted to start a family, yada yada. And then how if you look at somebody like Sarah Vilgus now, who was a champion 2 times, and now you look at Natty Quayle, it's about what they want. I mean, I know one lady who tells me she was a big fan of Julie McCarr. She said Julie McCarr had a great look. She had great
Yeah.
combination of femininity, great combination of muscle. People, I like a lot of ladies who I do interviews with who won physique division. They love Daly Bailey. How she
Yeah.
looked,
I like her too. Yeah, she looked good. She looked really good.
but it's about as the division is growing, changing.
Yeah.
And as you say you were figured before they started out before they brought bikini in, and they brought a bikini in, so those girls in figure who like, what, I'm too small for figure, but I'm just right for bikini. And then you have women now in bikini says, I'm too,
Big.
I don't have too big, or just I might even go to figure or wellness.
Yeah.
and it's about where you want to be placed. You know,
And it's also
and
about they might be lifting in the gym and they're trying to fit into the category of bikini, but then they realize I like having muscle. I like lifting heavy. I want to do figure. So a lot of times I think that happens. They start off in bikini just because they're small. And then as they get going and time goes on and they're putting the muscle on and they're eating good and they're doing all the things to grow, then they're starting to realize like, hey, I really like lifting and I want to be strong and I want to be a little bit bigger. And then they're drawn into doing figure that way. But I think for the wellness category, they just have to have the bigger legs and the glutes because that's what that whole category is about. So I think, like you were saying, the Brazilian girls, they're built like that. That's genetic, you know. So I think certain people will do better in that. There's a wellness. Is she wellness or bikini? Some girl I follow. I think she's wellness. Chinese. I think she's the first
oh,
girl.
Lily Dong.
Yeah, she
I
looks
think she,
great.
I
She's real
don't think she's
cute.
Chinese. I think she's someone says she's Filipino or something. I got a guy.
She said
I
she's the first China
oh
person to
China.
do
Oh,
the
I thought she's
Olympia.
Filipino.
Yeah, first girl from China. She said she's the first girl from China to do the Olympia. So
Hmm.
she, I don't know if it was this year she qualified or something, or maybe she did it last year, but I'm thinking she said 2023. So I think she's going to be in the Olympia, but she looks really, really good. Yeah, but she says she's the first Chinese competitor. So that's the
Yeah,
only
because
reason I know that that's where she's from. But she looks great. Like her body's really nice.
yeah, because it's like there'll be the first Russian competitor going to Olympia. That's Natalia Kovaleva.
Oh yeah,
And it's just this sport has grown over the years. Bodybuilding it's a small community, you might well say, but it has grown across different
oh
regions. Like
yeah,
one thing is like there's a couple of shows that happened this weekend. One was in Brazil. That was yesterday. Once today, it was in Portugal. And I
okay,
think with some competitors, they come here because there's more opportunity here in the States. I know one lady, she
yeah,
lives in Mexico, and she tells me that she likes coming here because in Mexico, it's not considered very feminine to do it. They have competition for men's bodybuilding and bikini, but with the more of the muscular division for women, like most definitely figure, women's bodybuilding, and physique, they
hmm,
really have to come over here as more opportunities. And as a competitor, you're in a division where even though it's still a little bit more, some say it's more attainable for some competitors, but instead again, the vision is starting to grow and evolve. Where you look at some
yeah.
women if you look at something like Missy Trescott over in
Oh,
fitness,
I love her. I love
and
her.
you look at her. I remember when the last year they had figure at the Arnold. I saw her and Jessica Medea hanging together behind the scenes. They do like one of those back room videos they record at the shows, and you look at them and say like, you know what? If you wasn't thinking there were two divisions, figure and fitness, you're thinking, okay, it was the high heels, because I think they were wearing their slippers or something. You think they were both physique competitors. And as a
Yeah,
competitor, as long as you've been competing, have you seen this division start from there, like how figures start out and how has grown over the years? You think that
yeah.
there should be more, restrictions, like requirements, like I think they're talking about doing it with men's physique, but I don't know if it's going to spread to some of the other divisions where I remember back in the day when they had in bodybuilding, they had the weight classes for the women. You had lightweight,
Yeah,
heavyweight, and there's
yeah.
the when it'd be like there's I think a height and weight and guidelines something like they're gonna put in. You think it will happen with your division, or they're just gonna say, you know what, we're gonna leave it as is?
I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of my division, to be honest, because I feel like there's less figure competitors than anybody, and so I don't know. I hope they don't do that, but in a way, I almost feel like the writing's on the wall. If they didn't already have it at the Arnold, which is the second biggest show after the Olympia, that makes me feel like, oh shoot, I hope they don't just get rid of it because I don't know if you've seen the Elite IFBB Pro Elite, it's called. Have you heard of that division?
That's mostly
So they do
overseas. That's
something, yeah, but they do something different that's like overall fitness look instead of figure, and they have a different way of posing. So I thought, oh, maybe they're trying to feminize it, which would be a good thing, like if they wanted to be more, but like you're saying, the TNA type stuff. So who knows? I hope they don't get rid of figure at least while I'm still thinking of doing a show because if they announce like something like that, I think that would be really, really heartbreaking for me. So sorry, my bad. But yeah, because I've always loved figure. I just do. I mean, I've never even wanted to try another division. I've never wanted to do, and I've never been told like, oh, you should try this instead. Because I don't think I'm built for the other things. I think I'm built, like you said, the taller girls look good in figure. So I feel most comfortable in figure, and I don't really care for the posing in bikini. That's not my thing. I can't do all that cutesy girly, this kind of
Put
stuff.
out.
It's just, yeah, I'm not. I'm not comfortable on stage that much by myself. I like my favorite part about the competing is the quarter turns in the lineup. That's my favorite thing. I don't really like coming out all alone and like, okay, now we're gonna look at you. I like being in the comparisons. I just think that is the most where I feel comfortable. So I don't know. I feel like my posing shines in that aspect versus by myself. So yeah, but I like the four mandatory like quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the right. So I like the robot.
Yeah. Yeah, and hard thing about this sport is like I know I heard a while back that Sidney Gillen, Whitney Jones, and Andrea Shaw come together and they're supposed to become a show who wins by the Sid's gonna step up, and Andrew's stepping up and Whitney's stepping up and maybe Figure will step around. But people gotta remember also this
Yeah,
sport is it's about a process. And also it's not a very lucrative sport. I mean, unless you have a little
yeah.
side gig or even if like I know one lady told me that she monetized herself because you have to make yourself your own product.
Oh yeah.
And then
Well, I'm sure she makes a lot of money on the side from having a nice body like that. So that's a good thing for her because she has to do what she has to do because competing is expensive too. Getting prep and doing the meals and doing the suits and doing the travel. I mean, that all adds up if you don't have a sponsor. So yeah, it's kind of tough. So, but that's why I'm lucky that I live in Vegas because I'm close to a lot of other places that have bigger shows. And even here in Vegas, we like I've always done the USA's because it was right here in my backyard. So I've always competed in a way where it was going to be a little less expensive for myself because that's what happens. But now I think they charge the Masters pros to compete. It used to be when you get to the pro level, you don't pay to do the show, and I think now they charge the Masters. So whatever, but it's not as much I think as a national show, so that's good. But yeah, we'll see. So I'm just excited to see what because right now there's no show I would do. They have a Masters show in Reno, Nevada in October, but I don't want to do it. It's 40 and over, and I'm not going to do that. So and I'm just not. I don't have the desire to go up there. So I think I'll wait until the calendar comes out for next year, and I'll see what shows they have, and maybe I'll do something in the spring and I'll see how I'm looking. And I could go back to Pittsburgh because it's the Masters Nationals and Pro show. So I could do that as a pro show where I got my pro card, because my family lives back that way. So that might be pretty cool to do it that
don't
way.
mind me, that's my brother in the back. I don't know
Oh,
why
that's
he.
cool. Hey, how's it going? How's it
Yeah,
going? Look,
but
you got
yeah,
your brother. I got my dogs.
yeah, it's always like, but yeah, I
We
think
got something going
the
on.
Gary Udick, yeah, he does quite a few of the master shows. I know a friend of mine, she did the World Master Championship last year. A couple of ladies that know done it also. As you know, you have the Olympic Masters for this year. It's like 40 and over,
Yeah.
and I think I know about the yeah, I heard about the thing about you have to pay master, but I was thinking, okay, when she became a pro, and this is one lady who competes, she competes in masters also. She told me like, oh yeah, I have to pay for what? What do you mean you gotta, because I think she did a show. I think it was the Sports Legion Fest. I think that's around
Yeah,
in
that's in Reno. The
Nevada.
Legion Fest is
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in Reno.
yeah. And she told me, like, wait a minute, what's your pro? It's one thing you got to pay your pro card every year, but then you have to pay to do a show. I think it's just if it was like this is one thing about bodybuilding. If it was like more of a lucrative sport, like some of the
Yeah.
high end sports, like football, basketball, baseball, you wouldn't have to. Like a lot of ladies, some ladies, like I said again, they have to do stuff to make it off the side, off the books, like OnlyFans. Some of them do photo sessions, or I would call them the beat to beat websites. That's what they are. Guys go on there. We don't go on there just to look at y'all guys. We have a reason for looking at you, but
Yeah,
that's
of course.
opinion. But it's up to that person where if they
Yeah.
want to be in this sport and they want to stay in it, you have to have a passion for it.
Yes.
Most everyday people just, what? I gotta get up. I gotta go work out. I gotta eat this. I gotta eat that. You have to follow your routine, and you have to be,
And I
consistent.
gotta do cardio, and I gotta lift weights, and then I gotta watch my, just like you're saying, you gotta watch your food. You can't go out to social events because then you're gonna have to be in bed sleeping to get up early and go do your thing. Yeah, but it's only a commitment of 3 months, like 90 days. Like, okay, clean up your diet, train for a show, don't go out and be social for a short window of time. Then as soon as that's over, you go do whatever you want. You want to eat McDonald's every day and lose the physique you built, go for it. But at the same time, most people that are in the sport stay in it because they like the consistency, they like the discipline, they like looking good, they like feeling good, they love going to the gym. So that's why they start competing anyways. Because that's just like anything, you need a goal. If you don't have goals, it's easy to get off track with the training. It's easy to let it slip. It's easy to let the diet slip because you don't have a purpose or a photo shoot or something coming up that requires you to look good. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it really is. You have to be in it to win it, man, mentally and physically. So it's hard. It's hard for sure.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I've been losing weight a little bit, and sometimes temptation is just like when your last show,
Yes, it
which
is.
was back in 2021, what did you get to eat? Because I know what was that favorite thing you wanted after your last show?
Well, here's the funny thing. When I was telling you, like before I got there, like 9 days before, I was talking with my friend at the gym. He's also over 50, and he competed at the Patriots Challenge. That's where I met him. And I thought he was a little bit crazy, a little off the wall. He was like bouncing all over, like ADD kind of, but a cool guy. But he just was like, ah. And so I thought, okay, he's got like ADD. I'm gonna go over here, like, because he was competing also in men's physique, and he looked incredible, really dry and like hard and cut. And I thought, okay, so he just ate a bunch of candy, and he was just like psyched and whatever. So he ended up getting second place because he's very short, but the guy that beat him was really tall and bigger, and but his conditioning was just out of this world. So he came up to me at the gym after that show. He came up to me about 3 days later. He saw me training legs and he came over to me. And that's when he told me, he said, you know what? He goes, don't take this the wrong way. He goes, but you looked better like a month ago. He goes, I saw you over at this other gym. And I was like, okay, I got a show in 9 days. Don't like that in my head. Well, he just started telling me all these things like, you need to eat more carbs and stop doing cardio. And he just gave me like a list of shit just randomly. And then I thought in my head, well, what do I have to lose? I don't think I look right. So maybe I'll just do what he said. And so I did. I did what he said. And I ended up getting more volume. Like my muscles started to fill out. I started to look harder and tighter. And my skin was like, it was just drying out. Like I was telling you, it was drying out. Like I looked really soft because the water was out of the muscle and it was on my skin, like in between the skin and the muscle. So I didn't look hard. I didn't look that great. I looked okay, but I didn't look that great. He taught me how to change that process. So he had me going to Smash Burger and eating sweet potato fries and a turkey burger, and then he had me go to Chipotle and get something from there. So here I went from eating hardly any flavor to eating all these types of foods, and then he would call me in like an hour and do like video, and he would look at me and he'd say, okay, you're fine. He's like, so, and then I would go to his house in the morning and he would look at me and see, okay, you could still use a little bit more. He's like, we're gonna up this or up that. And that's what I ended up doing. So he had me eating all kinds of crazy stuff that I would have never touched normally. So when I started doing that, the whole process came together. And that was just like by the grace of God, because when I got off that plane and I thought I was going to be holding water, I wasn't at all. I was just completely ripped. And I had my sister take me to, it was like Qdoba or something, and I got a big bowl with rice and meat, and it was full of salt and sodium and shit, and I just ate that stuff. And the more I ate, I just kept getting harder and harder, and I was just like, and within reason, I was eating a certain amount, but it was just like, it started to fill me out. So the whole peak week, I was eating cheat meals. So that's why I was like, I didn't really care at the show because I had been enjoying myself. Like that last week, it was like, oh, food with flavor, oh my god, But it was cool. And then after the show, after I won, I was really excited, but we were so tired and my feet were killing me. So I thought, well, let's just go lay down. I had a photo shoot with Lou Krivda the next day, so I only had like protein shake and a banana, and then I went to bed and then went and did my photo shoot with Lou, had another banana, I think. We had some breakfast, and then on the way home, we stopped at a couple places, and I had a couple treats, like I had one of the girls that was a bodybuilder, she was really nice. My sister drove with me. Now, my sister doesn't work out that much, but she doesn't do this. but she drove me, and she is like the most supportive person in my life. She did so much stuff for me while I was there. It was like unbelievable. She was going to Walmart for these bodybuilders. She didn't even know these people. This chick ran out of oatmeal, and my sister drove her to Walmart, which was not close. It was kind of like a 20-minute drive for her to get food that she needed and stuff like this. And then she was videoing and taking pictures of all these competitors and giving it to them. I'm like, where's my video? And she was just so cute. She was like being so nice to all these people. And then the only video I wanted was the comparison part, because like I told you that's my favorite part. But like the strange thing happened, because you know how like at a show they call out the top 5 people, and you usually know pretty much who's in, who's gonna win. Well, we had 9 girls in my class, and they didn't do that with us. They just had us all in one line. So I was the second from the end. Okay, they started calling numbers and moving people. They never called me. I was on the end, and I was freaking out in my head. I thought, oh my God, I'm like on the end here, and they're calling everybody but me. I'm like, oh great. Like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, here I go again. What? I'm just like so upset. Like could feel myself getting upset, and then I thought, okay, you can't feel like that, because you have to be happy. You're on stage, just fake it. Like, who cares? And I was really getting like worried. I thought, oh great, now like I'm not even gonna make the top 5. And I was like, and this is like the best I've ever looked. Well, they waited until the very end, and then she called my number, and she said 570. Switch with whoever it was, and they were like in third. So it would have been the middle. They were to the right of the girl in the middle. So she put me there, and I thought, oh, okay, that's way better than it was. So I was like, okay, I'm happier now. And then we stood there what felt like a minute, and then she switched me with the girl in the middle. So she said for us to switch, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And I'm in the middle. I was like, oh my God, I'm excited. And then she just said, like, maybe 10 seconds, we're all standing there, and it's just so quiet. She's like, quarter turn to the right. And then I knew. I was like, oh my God, I think I won. Like, this was like so excited. So I called Jeannie. I said, I don't know. It was so weird. And I told her what happened, and she goes, oh, you won. I said, well, I don't want to jinx it. She goes, Lisa, if they ended with you in the middle, you won. I was like, okay, I hope so. And so, like, you never want to think that, though. You never, oh, I want. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just happy that they did move me to the center. And then at the end, when they did call my name, I was like, so. But it just was such a eerie feeling, though, because I was on the end, and I was like, I can't believe I'm on the end. Especially when you're thinking, this is the best I've ever freaking looked. And some of the people backstage, I met these really awesome people. This one girl, her husband was back there as like the coach, and there was 3 or 4 girls. They were all together, and he was kind of coaching them, and they were really nice to me. But they were nice to me. They thought I was women's physique, and I said, I was sitting there, and they asked me. They said, "Are you in physique?" I said, "Oh no, I'm in figure." And then they go, "Oh really?" They're like, "Oh wow." So the husband, he's a power lifter and a competitor himself, and he goes to me. He was like, "Oh, for a minute there, I thought you were going to be against my girls." And I said, "No." I said, "I'm over 50," and I could tell they weren't. He's like, "You're over 50?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh my gosh." He's like, "I would have never thought." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not in the same category with them." So we were all like hanging out and talking and stuff, and he was watching me too backstage, and he'd be like, "Did you just eat some carbs?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, go move around." He goes, "Moving around." Like he was like watching me and kind of like helping me and stuff. It was cool. But they were so nice. But they thought I was in physique, and I thought, do I look that big? And that's why when I was on the end, I got nervous. I thought, oh, maybe I'm too big, because you just never know. But all in all, it worked out for my best interest, so that was good.
Well, I know you were like sweating bullets, and it's good that I think one of the ladies I follow, she's a good friend of mine. She mentioned she knows your sister. Her name's
Oh
Yetta.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. My sister
yeah,
loves her. My sister loves her.
yeah.
Yeah.
She told me that she talked about you, and it's good that you have that support, because I know with a lot of women in the sport, especially in the division you're in, it's still, even though it's a little bit more attainable, but still it's still the amount of muscle, and there's always a
It's
debate about the
hard.
femininity thing. It's good to have support like with your family, and you have your
Oh yeah.
sister, and you got people like Jenny and the others that support you. It's tough because you know what? There's a lot of sacrifices, like time, money, the emotions. I just did an interview with a young lady who just she's competing. She's an amateur, and it's tough for her because she's like 25,
Yeah.
and at 25 you're still young. You feel like I'm I'm
It's
next
hard
year.
to
I'm
put
going.
muscle on when you're young. It's hard. Like people act like it's easy for young people. It's not. They have to put time into. It's not easy. I mean, yeah, they don't have some of the challenges that older people have, but older people also have the muscle density and the muscle maturity. So you've been training for so many years that the muscle's there. When you got to build it from scratch, I remember going through that part. I was in my mid 20s, like mid 20s going into my 30s, and I remember putting muscle on, how much time it took. And I had this boyfriend. He was a football player for University of Hawaii. He went there on a scholarship, and he said to me one day, he goes, "Oh, you're never gonna look the way you want for 10 years." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "It's gonna take you 10 years." He goes, "You think it happens overnight?" He goes, "It takes about 10 years before you really build any muscle." And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym and never look different for 10 years." I'm like, "Oh, you're so full of it." And I thought in my head he didn't want me to go. But I think even though that was part of it, he was realistically telling me like that really is about how long it takes. It takes about a decade for you to be solid like size on your frame, you know. So and he knew because I came from being really skinny. And so he knew I was like real skinny and I didn't eat a whole lot, you know, and I didn't really understand nutrition at that point to grow. And I was afraid of looking like overweight while I'm putting on muscle. So I probably didn't eat enough calories, you know, but he was funny. He was like, "It'd take you 10 years." And then like now I understood what he meant then. Like it probably does take about that, you know, before you really have that solid muscle maturity, you know. You look you look young, usually the young people, most of them do. Like you can see the difference between somebody who's new. Because the girl that got second place to me when I won the Steve Carr Classic as I came back into figure in 2018, she was 19 years old. And she got second. She would have probably beat me had she had a little bit more size because she looked really good, but she just didn't have enough shoulders and back yet. But I could tell eventually that if she's still doing it, I don't know if she is, but if she's still doing it, she probably would do really well because she had a really good structure, small waist, you know, but she just didn't have the amount of muscle that I had. So,
Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, because I think when you get older, your body's because it between when you're young, your metabolism is like rah, but then when you start hitting close to your 30s, it starts to slow down. I mean, I can tell you right now, hey, my metabolism, well, bad eating habits was also affected it, but it's the tough part about this.
yeah.
You have to find the right, the right chemical balance, you might well say, the right,
Hmm.
you know, like everything has to be set together to work for you. Because one thing that's what people think of bodybuilding is nothing. All you gotta do is pop a pill, lift some weights, and blah blah
I
blah.
know.
But it's not that. It's
I know
about it's like
people don't understand, and there's drawbacks to having a fast metabolism. Like I actually have a fast metabolism, even at 53. I like tease about myself, and I go, I have the metabolism of a hummingbird because I'm just always like, rah. And I go, but the thing is, some that's hard too because I'm a hard gainer. So even if I'm training and I'm lifting heavy weights, my back and shoulders are the first thing to go. I'm gonna move this over just a touch. I think when it fell a little bit with my dog. But like right here to keep my shoulders like capped, it's very hard. It's not something easy for me. And I remember when I was first training with weights and everything, that upper body, my lower body feels like this because most of my fat storage and I had muscle from doing gymnastics and stuff. Legs and glutes are easy for me, but it's the upper body. So the second I start to lose anything, it comes from here. So that's why doing too much cardio. And when he told me to quit doing cardio, I was so happy because that was the first thing that started to appear larger was my shoulders because the cardio just for some reason makes me just lose my upper body. So if I do too much cardio, so now I'll do like 20 minutes of cardio a couple days a week just for my heart, but I don't do it like I used to do 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I'm like, I don't need to. I don't need that stuff. I need it for my heart, yes, but I can do a smaller amount, fewer days a week, and get that taken care of. So that's what I usually do. But yeah, so it's not easy for any category. Bikini has it hard, figure has it hard, wellness has it hard. I mean, they all do. But it's like you just have to find the right category for your body. You have to have the right type of training, the right trainer, the right posing coach. I mean, it comes down to everything. Sometimes it could be something as minimal as posing, like they're out there. They all look amazing, but you didn't get first because this one's posing was just more polished than yours, and that's the way it goes. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, like I
that
said,
is a tough one.
it's a process. But the thing about the process, like you have to understand it. You have to follow whatever plan is that works for you, and it's just I respect you ladies, what you do. I mean, like I said,
Thank you.
everybody can't do this. Like Roddy Coleman said it best. Everybody wants to be bodybuilder, but no one can want to lift his heavy ass weights. Shout out to Roddy Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia himself.
Oh, I
But
love
yeah,
Ronnie Coleman. He's so great. He was funny too. He was so cute. I shared a video of him the other day. You may have seen it. It was a TikTok with him. I shared it on Instagram though, of him talking about how people would say, I don't have time to go to the gym, and he was like getting undressed from his cop uniform, and he was talking about how he works 8 hours a day as a cop, and he still gets to the gym, and he's has to get up early, and he's doing all this and that, and he's like, so don't tell me you don't have time, because he did it the whole time. And he is just so cool. I got mad respect for him. He's awesome, awesome guy. I mean, I think anybody and I was teasing, obviously, I'm following Mike Mentor's program, but I don't think Arnold sucks or anything like that. I would never say that. Obviously, Arnold was awesome. He was amazing. So, but I'm just saying is as far as things go about people, I prefer other physiques as well, So I hate to say yeah, of course, you could never say somebody who won the Olympia as many times as he did and is still so highly respected as the best ever. So, you know what I mean? So obviously, yeah, of course, that's true. But I'm just saying, for me, my favorites aren't always the people who are at the tippity top. Sometimes in everything, I always like people that are second, third, fourth, because they deserve fans too. It's they look just as good, they work just as hard. Sometimes they have a body that you like over the champions, and it's not because you don't think the champion's great. It's just because their physique appeals more to you. And like I said, why I like Natalie so much is probably because I see a little bit of my structure in her body, so that makes me feel like, oh, okay, that kind of looks like me. So people tend to relate to somebody who they feel looks attainable. So for me, if I want to look like her structure, I have more of a chance of looking like her than I have of looking like Sydney, because I'm not built like Sydney is. I don't have the same structure, but I have a more similar body to Natalie. So I think that's why I'm kind of drawn to her physique, because that's something I aspire to do with myself.
hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, it's cool. There's so many great. I mean, I remember when I went to the Meet the Olympians back when I met Missy Truscott. I was just wandering around in the back. I didn't go to where all the top people were because they were already so crowded at the tables. I just started walking through. I didn't know a lot of them, but I stopped and I took a picture with the people that didn't have anybody waiting, because I thought, well, I don't know these guys like Vance Physique and stuff, but I thought they did a lot to get here to have a table, and I don't want them to feel like nobody cares, So I thought it was kind of cool. What's that noise? Do you hear that?
Oh, I think it's my air conditioning is popping up.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
like, is that me? I thought it was me.
because my
Anyway, so yeah,
it
so
just
I
came
took
on.
pictures. So I took pictures with a lot of the people that I didn't even know who they were, but I thought, oh, this is cool. I don't even know these people. I'm gonna take a picture because they didn't have a line at the booth yet. Not saying they wouldn't, but and I thought I wanted them to see people appreciate the hard work it is to even be at the Olympia. I mean, how hard is that? So I don't care that they're not the top people. And that's when I actually met Boyana. I met Natalia there. I met this other girl, Jody. Jody, she was in fitness and she hurt herself and she wasn't able to compete. She
Jordy
looked
Boo,
great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Jordy Boo,
And
yeah,
her,
because she that she switched over to your division. She's doing
is
figure
she
now.
Canada? She
Yeah,
looked great.
she
Her body
because
is amazing.
she started out in fitness, and then she did physique for us because of that injury, I believe, because she did physique for a couple of years. She had I think her second child, I believe, and
Okay.
she competed in Toronto Super Show about a month ago in figure. So she might
Yeah, she
be
looked great.
yeah.
So I met
She's a
her,
good
and
person.
you know who else I love? The Korean girl, Anna De Jong.
On a John, yeah, because I remember,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
because she was that year when they had the last year they had a figure. Because I looked at her because I was looking, she was standing with Erica
she
Deer,
looked good.
and,
She looked
and I was
good.
thinking her Erica Deer looked like about the same, because Erica's a little short size,
Yeah,
so
they
she's
do.
short,
They
short.
do.
Yeah,
She got a big back. Oh wow, she's really. She's really impressive. Yeah. So I met her too. And I was happy to meet her, but she doesn't speak any English, of course, because she lives in Korea. But her boyfriend was there, and he took a picture of her and I. She's just cute though. I like her. You could see her personality, even though I don't speak the same language as her, but you can see her personality through her Instagram and stuff. She's very cute. Yeah, but I liked her. So I met a whole bunch of athletes, and there was a couple guys from the men's physique. I forget who they were, but I took pictures with a few of them that they were just hanging out and eating their food and like whatever. But I think it's cool. Like, yeah, it's a hard thing to do. That's a huge achievement to get to be on that stage. So I have mad respect for everybody who shows up to there. I don't care if they place, don't win. I mean, it's still, once you're at that caliber and you can stand on that stage, you're all like amazing athletes. They all look unbelievable.
That's about my channel. I know, like, guys who follow my channel, they say, like, Joe, we gonna talk to this person. I would love to talk to that person. I love to talk to, like, I'm a big fan of Andrea Shaw. I love Andrea Shaw. She is beautiful, amazing. I'm a big fan of hers. But I know she's a busy lady. People like Mila Ash, people like Angela Yo. I mean, a lot of the women in coming up in the physique division, women coming up right now. Like I said, when I started this channel, I mostly focus more on women's bodybuilding, but as a content maker, I really want to expand more. And if I think you're my second IFBB pro level figure competitor. And
thank you.
I've interviewed a couple girls in the amateur level. I've interviewed women in bikini. I mean, I really want to give the opportunity for you competitors. Like, I love talking to the big stars, but I love talking to people like you who have been in sports,
of course,
who have rub shows with people like Jay Cutler, Jenny Paparone. I mean, so many other these legends, Tony Pearson.
Yeah.
He gave me great stories, information. I enjoyed that. We got a man here. He's a hater, but he's my buddy. This is my man, KLA the Wanderer. Hey George, hi Lisa. Hey KLA the Wanderer. Shout out to him. And folks, you need to understand these women, what they do. It is tough. Not only is it, again, this sport is mentally, physically, emotionally, and also financially draining. So if you're interested, and this is why I say that people out there, if you're interested, like, I know she has sponsors and I know she has a business, but interested in helping out her, sponsoring her, maybe even buy a product, reach out.
Thanks.
Yeah, reach out to Lisa. And be his thing is, guys, be genuine about your interests. Don't be that guy like, this guy here, like, says,
not a creep.
Hello, Lisa. I think you have some talents that I particularly like. And you know what, Lisa? You are beautiful. I'm sorry, he comes out every now and then. I gotta keep
you're funny. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. This is my man. Try not to be biased, George, if you want to expand. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like I said, I try to be more open. We gotta flex. We gotta flex for you pervs out there. We gotta flex.
My left side is actually the better. This one's better.
Yeah, get the better view. We gotta flex for you guys. Okay.
And I'm not looking at. Okay, wait. There's one, and I'm not even lean. This is me not even lean.
Not even lean. Right? It don't matter.
This is off season, baby.
Off season. They love it. Okay, guys. Put back the lotion and tissue and calm down. Okay. But we don't want to hold up too much because you just finished.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And I'm gonna actually go train the client at 5, and I go to their house. So I'll have to leave here in about 10 minutes. I'm gonna have one more something to snack on before I take off. But I appreciate you having me. I really do, and I'm excited about next year. So if you guys are on my Instagram or whatever, I'm going to be posting a lot more of my new style of training. So it'll be really cool stuff, and hopefully I'll be putting on some muscle like Mike says, and then we're as they say, the proof is in the pudding. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Well, we got some this from man KLA. Says, I love the flex. Also, he says this. He says, I don't know what you women see him doing that Joker. Well, because Joker is a particular type of criminal that ladies love. They love the bad boys.
They do.
They love anarchy and chaos. Sometimes you have a plan. And I don't have a plan. I'm a dog shifting cars.
Oh my gosh, you're funny.
I'm sorry. But before I let you go, this is why often I say to people out there who, reach out to these ladies because they can use support. They can use any
Yeah.
kind of because
Hey,
it's tough.
and at least if you buy something from my clothing line, I have a lot of really cool men's wear. It's called Bomb Shelter. It's on the KettleBell Bombshell website, but the men's line is called Bomb Shelter Clothing. It's actually very cool. I have a couple professional athletes that wear it, and I have this one design that is my top selling thing for guys is these shorts. They're really cool bike shorts, but they're called acronyms. They have writing all over them. So they come in different colors and they have all kinds of cool like writing like SWAT, clean. They have some acronyms, lift, and they have KBBS, which is my acronym, and it has a little kettlebell. It's just very cool. So that's my most popular selling item right now. And there's nothing else like it, which is really awesome. So it's very unique, but all the guys are going crazy for it. So they're all buying the shorts. So that's one of my best things. And then I sell t-shirts and tanks and muscle tops and stuff like that. So at least if you want to help out and you buy something, you get something in return for your money, you know. And yeah, so instead of just like sponsoring somebody with cash, you know, because then you don't feel like you're seeing anything for your investment. But if you buy something, then you can be supporting the brand and me, and yeah, that would be great. And I have a discount code of 10%. You use KB10 at checkout, like kettlebell, KB10 at checkout, and you get 10% off. And I don't bother you with tons of emails, and I don't make you sign up your email to look at my website. Just go look at
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, before we let it go, this is we often ask this to a lot of competitors who are now your IFB pro. What would you like to see? As a pro, as you know, it's tough to be a competitor. The financial
Hmm.
stuff, the physical stuff. What would we like to see change in the sport, in your
Well,
mindset when you hit to that?
I would like to see prize money for the top three competitors. Like first, second, third, I mean top five, fourth and fifth, they get a trophy, and maybe like, even the top five competitors. I think that's only fair because it does cost a lot to get there. So even if you just give them a couple $100 with all the entry fees that you get from every competitor, amateur and professional, and the audience, people paying, and they've raised the price on everything, which they have to do. That's the way things are today. But I'm just saying, like, even if you give each of the competitors, like, couple $100, I mean, that goes toward the suit, the tanning, I mean, something. So I think it would be great to see prizes of, cash awarded, because the number one thing people have always asked ever since I started, what do you get if you win? And then when you tell them nothing but a trophy, they're like, oh. Well, don't you think more people would want to compete if they could actually win money? But like, it it just seems strange to me that that would never be an option. Like a pro card is awesome. First and second place get their pro card. Yeah, that's great. But you could at the pro level, I think, at least give cash prize to everybody. I don't think they do that now, but I think every top five person deserves something. Even if it's like, say the fifth place winner gets $150, at least I paid for your spray can. I mean something. So I think that's what I would like to see change.
Mhm. One thing if bodybuilding was more lucrative like it was like any other sport, is it's not considered a mainstream sport. It's not.
No.
It used to be back then. You catch it on network television, but you always see it on that. And if there
ABC
was like
Wide World of Sports had it. Do you remember that?
NBC used to have it,
Wide World of Sports, yeah.
ESPN, Fox News,
Yeah,
Fox Sports, they used to have
yeah.
it, but now because of sports considered a fringe sport, and always his thing about bodybuilding is always gonna get that finger pointed because you're on steroids, you're on that. But there's more steroid use in these mainstream sports, even in stuff like golf. Golfers
Yeah.
use steroids. You
Oh
got
yeah.
ballerinas use steroids. Everybody uses. There's a fighter named Nate Diaz. He's a UFC fighter. He says like, everybody uses steroids at whatever level. Could be anything from inhaler to birth control. We got a man here. This is what we got here. My man, KL the Wonder. Before you head out, he says this.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of women competing, so I guess it could be difficult to give out the money. Yeah, it could be. That's
Not
could be
for the
difficult
top
part.
five. Not for the top five. Just top
Yeah,
five at the pro level.
yeah.
I get what
And
you're
I said,
saying, but because there's a lot of women competing, it shouldn't be that hard. Because if you've got the top five, pro level only, not amateur, is what I'm saying. Pro level only, top five people, you get $100 to fifth place, 200 to fourth, 300 to third, and then you get 500 to second and 1,000 to first. That's what, 2 grand a class. That's not that much. I don't think. Not with year round all the shows that they're doing, and the entry fees. So I feel like it's doable. But like I said, you just asked me what would you like to see change, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And Karen says that I got that from Bill Dobbins. And he did an interview with Ben Dobbins. I sat in on it. You know, that's a legendary guy, great photographer. I think he said he was interested in maybe taking photos of people because he lives in LA around
Yeah, I've heard of him. We talked about him, Bill Dobbins. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big fan of him. He put out great stuff, you know, especially I remember the book The Woman. I got a friend, he has that copy. And you know, I got to finally see it. Couldn't buy it back then because it was too expensive for me. I was
Yeah.
I was in the I think I was just getting out of high school and I couldn't pay the
Oh
afford to pay
yeah,
that movie.
for sure,
But
right? Oh, how funny.
but like I said, we do appreciate your time. Like I said, anybody who's interested, you know, you can go to her IG, and she has a codes you want to buy product from. That's also a way to help out these competitors because a lot of them they do sell products, and
Yeah.
also some we have sponsorship because you pretty much sponsor yourself.
Yes.
But you know those things help out in the long run because you know, like I said again, the cost of your suits, the travel, spray tan,
Yeah.
hair, makeup. You know, there's a lot that goes into the sport. You know, with the men, all you got to put on some spray tan, a banana hammock, or a pair of board shorts, and that's it. But you ladies, you really have to be all done, especially in your division where it's more of, I would say, a little bit more of a, he has you more presentable in a
Yeah.
way compared to like physique or bodybuilding. But
Yeah.
still, you know, it's tough, you know, and you also got to always got, you know, I know you go through your clear heels like crazy, so you got to get a new pair. So, you know, I think always go like this is my advice. There's always strippers that somewhere that might have a discount, something like that. But folks, if you like I said again, if you're interested in seeing Lisa, like I said, this is what we want to hear. We want to see people say, you know what, Miss Balash, I want to see you grow as an athlete. So whatever you need from me, you want me to buy a product from you, I'm happy to do that. But you know, don't be this guy saying, "Hey Lisa, I like how you handle those kettlebells." You know, how you think, yeah. No, stop that, guys. Don't do that. Be genuine and seeing a lady like herself hit the next level. She's like I said, she's
That's
planning on
great.
going competing next year, 2024. I
Yeah.
think there's
Plan on
like
putting
I
on
said,
some muscle first, a little
yeah.
bit more. We'll
Yeah, put
see.
on some
We'll
muscles,
see.
and guys should get a little flex for y'all. So y'all, you know, hey, and also
Yeah.
guys,
Get one for
you
the
know my
road.
rule. You know my
What's
rules out
up?
there. You're sick freaks. Yeah, you know. I know. You got a hard head. We got another hard head. But hey, we talk about that later. But no deep hits. Stop it.
Yeah, they won't. I think they'll behave.
Hey,
I'm sure they'll listen to you.
I don't trust nobody. Like my man
They'll
DT,
behave.
like a man Stone Cold Austin, DTA, don't trust anybody. So, folks, like I said again, if you want to reach out to her, like I said, on her IG. Also, she has a YouTube channel. You want to follow her. She has some good instruction stuff, and especially like you work with kettlebells, because you know, when I lift
Yeah.
weights, I usually just lift lifts with that. And also, my man says, make some clips of her flexing. Oh, okay. What do you like to do?
Well,
Sometimes
I always do a Flex Friday post, so you guys can go on my IG and you'll get a Flex Friday. So there's a lot of those on there. You can scroll through and look back, and get those. Okay, a lot of flexing on
yeah.
that page.
Because
So
especially if you have a long weekend, just like to say, I just want to see a flex. You gotta, but like I said, guys, I
you're
do
funny.
appreciate you. Yeah, I know. I do appreciate y'all coming through, my man. Combo Breaker 99, KL the Wanderer. Anybody who watched this video, like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow myself on my channel on Always Joy Page, aka the Professional Body Talk. Follow Lisa on her IG, the KettleBell BombShell. Support these ladies in these divisions. I mean, like I said again, this is a tough sport. And if
Yeah.
it was an easy sport, everybody would do it. But the fact is, you have
Hmm.
to have a commitment and a passion for the sport. And like I said,
Absolutely.
I got respect for women like this who do this because you know what, you know, like Roddy Coleman says, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to lift a hairy half weight. So, like I said,
Yeah.
if you're someone who really want to do the sport and follow these ladies and these men in the sport, show them support, show them respect, and and don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Don't be
So
that
anyway, I'd like
guy.
to thank you, Miss Lisa. I'd like to thank everybody for coming through. I
Thank you
wish
again. My
y'all
pleasure.
the pleasure's all mine. Like I said, one of my favorite quotes is like I said, you know, what this is one of my favorite quotes from Batman Begins. It says like at the end of it, where I'm gonna repeat because I know KL knows me when Jim Gordon's talking to Batman says, I forgot to thank you. And Barry Turtle says you never have to, because I personally would like to give y'all ladies opportunity to share your story, and that's why I just got into it. Like I said, it was something that helped me out while I was taking care of my mom. But like I said, learning and talking with you ladies and really get understanding what y'all go through. I really have a respect and admiration. Yes, I'm still a mercy person, I'll admit that, but still, I have a little more understanding what y'all go through, and that's why I respect ladies like yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you. We appreciate it. And we appreciate all your hard work too, getting the word out there and all the information, because a lot of people don't even know we exist. So you're bringing awareness to the sport, which we appreciate as well. But everybody, thanks for watching. I do have to run. I'm going to grab something to snack on and get to my client's house by 5. So it never ends. I'm either training myself or training someone else, which is a good thing. Good problem to have. All right, thanks again, and I will talk to you soon. I'll see you on the gram.
Okay. Anyway, folks, thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate it, Miss Lisa, and thank y'all for coming through. This is me, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't subscribe. Good afternoon, good night, and good evening, and good luck.